Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in this masterclass. I'm so grateful that you've taken the time to join me today, and I wanted to make sure that today was going to have some really helpful bits for you to really sort of take through into your working life. So you would have noticed that the name of our masterclass today was Tableau for Business. And I really wanted to make a distinction between a Tableau for business and Tableau for fun. I feel that there is a great emphasis on Tableau for fun. Believe it or not, people do spend a lot of time tableauing just for fun. And so I really want to start a conversation around Tableau for business and how does business get great value out of Tableau. How does business get great value out of the people who learn how to be brilliant at using Tableau? Because, if we sort of go back to the beginning, how did most of us get into Tableau? It's probably through business. And, I think that I feel like we're losing a little bit of our focus with the broader Tableau community. And so what I wanted to do was to really come back to that business context, to that business prefix, and to be able to say, yes, we're becoming amazing Tableau developers and we're doing amazing work, but really, why are we here? We're here to get great value for our business, for our clients, and to be able to really deliver on that insight that Tableau is so famous for. I wanted to start with the concept of storytelling, and there's been a lot said about this, this concept of storytelling. It's almost becoming the buzzword of our current year, 2016, and it's certainly being bandied around in a way that in the broader Tableau community, we're seeing a lot of storytelling being discussed, when we're looking to really enhance the viz and to really sort of get a lot out of the visual. But what we don't see a lot of use of storytelling is in business. And sorry, that's a bit convoluted and a bit sort of I don't know, up in the air. I think that we want to be good storytellers, but sometimes bridging the gap between, I have a business deliverable and I want to tell a good story with that can be a little bit tricky. So what I wanted to sort of talk today about was how we can, as business users of Tableau, become really strong storytellers and make sure that the messages that we're sending out with our dashboards, with our visualizations, with our story points, however we're communicating our work, that we are really effective in getting that message through. It sounds really serious and it sounds really, like it's a burden. It's not. Storytelling is as a Tableau developer, it is our greatest opportunity. At the end of the day, we are the ones with the paintbrush or the mouse in our hands, and we are the ones who are responsible for taking the data, taking the raw inputs that we have access to, and really creating the visual experience, also, but more so creating the story. And so if you think about how does an author sort of put together a story? They string together a range of characters. They string together a range of themes. They string together a range of landscapes, and all of this weaves together to bring these this message through. I struggle to think of a book that I've read that doesn't have some sort of message sort of buried deep within, and that's what we want to do with Tableau. And it might sound business world storytelling, not very exciting, not very sexy. It totally can be. And so what I wanted to do today was to sort of share with you a tale of two clients, if you like. And these are two real clients that I've worked with. We'll call them Client A and Client B, and I wanted to share with you what happened at each of these clients and what that has done for me in terms of modeling the way that I work with clients going forward, and how I now am able to really help clients get the most out of their Tableau deployments. So we'll start with Client A. Client A was very clear with their requirements. Their requirement was, we need a Tableau developer, full stop. And they said, here's the data. And they gave me some data, and they said, can you build a dashboard for us to sort of give to our clients? And sure. So that was really the breadth and depth of the conversation, and it was only sort of through regular they'd come into the room that I was in and come and have a look at what I'd done, and it was from seeing what I'd done that they worked out what they didn't want, but defining what they did want was quite difficult. And I think that in this world at the moment where so many organizations are adopting Tableau at the rate of knots, Tableau skills are just booming out there, and there is this almost hype that is sold by Tableau that you too can do these amazing great things in 20 minutes or less, and as we as Tableau developers often feel, it's probably not the case that it's 20 minutes or less, but everyone knows that you can do great things with Tableau, and so the expectations are so high, and I think we've sort of we've come to a point where we've almost forgotten to ask the business questions that should be asked before we even touch Tableau. When I teach classes with Tableau desktop students, I spend a lot of time thinking about what is the sort of impact on these people in terms of what are the questions that they're asking on a day-to-day basis, and what are we talking about in terms of what change are we trying to see inside their organization. So really we've got to spend more time thinking about our context, and unfortunately I think that we too often sort of deep dive into building the viz as opposed to thinking about what we could do with the viz, which is a little bit a little bit disconcerting. Anyway, I'm rambling. Back to Client A. So Client A had me in a room doing this development, and when they came and saw what I'd done, amazing visualization, but not what we were after. What were you after? We don't know. Contrast that with Client B. Client B had a very specific objective. Client B had an objective that was, there was a specific business problem that they were looking to not only understand, but they were looking to really shift. They had a particular metric that had been very poorly performing for a very long time, and they wanted to understand what was contributing to that, and then once they understood what was contributing to that, how they could impact that and how they could really turn it on its head. And the best way to manage anything is to monitor it and to measure it, and once you've measured it, then you can improve it. Once you've measured it, then you can understand what's contributing to it. And so we were able to, with a very narrow lens, work out what was contributing to this particular business problem. And therefore, how could we adjust the behaviors, the systems, the processes to have an impact on this number? Now, this client B, who I spent more time talking with in the beginning in terms of understanding the business problem, understanding the business context, and understanding the appetite and the levers by which they could potentially make these changes. I probably spent the same amount of time that I did building dashboards for them as I did in talking to them and in this sort of initial conversation. So going back to client A, who, it may have been, I don't know, a couple of weeks worth of sort of development, try this, no, and really that sort of not knowing what we want to know from the data, and contrast that with client B, who knew what they wanted to know in terms of they knew they wanted to fix a particular problem. The client B, the outcome. So the client B trusted me to develop this viz, developed the viz, developed the dashboards, and within a couple of months of religiously using this dashboard on a daily basis across a broad team, and really monitoring not only the inputs not only the outputs of the process, so the final metric, but also using Tableau to monitor the inputs to a metric, we were able to deliver a 600% productivity improvement for this particular team. Now, that result is astounding, but it is entirely consistent with the sort of academic and theoretic worlds that if you want to manage something, you measure it. You think about all of the sort of advocates of transparent reporting and transparency in terms of accountability, numeric accountability. If we can develop dashboards that get to the heart of a business problem with a business impact that is well understood by the Tableau developer, you're going to be delivering dashboards that have the ability to change an organization. And so if we think about this world where, we're sort of put in a room with a bunch of data and asked to develop an individual dashboard that may or may not hit the mark, and, it might be the best visualization that's, ever been seen in this particular realm, but if it doesn't have business impact, why are we spending our time on it? So today, I wanted to sort of paint that picture and paint that contrast between a really targeted and deliberate approach to dashboard development versus that free and creative and go explore. And I know that this is probably going to ruffle some feathers throughout the Tableau community, that Tableau is very much about being in the flow, and you don't know what you don't know, so let's explore it visually and see what comes. But from an enterprise perspective, and from a world where I live, where my clients have limited time, limited resources, big problems, and big appetite for change, this is more important than Tableau Flow. So open to criticism, but I firmly believe that the better we can get at designing and delivering dashboards with impact, the more we are going to be asked to contribute to this business environment. The better job we do at designing and delivering with impact, the better the business world will be. We'll be able to highlight those problems. We'll be able to identify the inputs and the levers. And without that focus in the first instance, it's very difficult to hit the nail on the head if you don't know where the nail is. I'm really hoping that this sort of this webinar that we've done today, this masterclass, has potentially ruffled a few feathers, potentially sort of thrown a spanner in the works as far as the sort of broader Tableau community goes, to really sort of think of ourselves in a context that is entirely framed by business, because it's only that's how we started. That's where this came from. This, as much fun as we have in the big data viz world with Tableau, this started from business, and I feel that we've potentially lost our way in terms of striving for business excellence using Tableau, and so I'm very keen to sort of push that one and explore that in a constructive and open way, but more so for the people who do agree with me and who are looking for ways to really design and deliver the dashboards with impact, and to have that impact on the organizations. I would love for you to to download the guide that I've made available, that you should see at the bottom of your screen, and really come back to me and challenge me on why this is important, why this is not important. You have an opinion, have a conversation, because in my time using Tableau, I do really feel that we've got so much more to do. In terms of wrapping this technology and this mindset in the business context to change business. And I'm very happy to take the mantle and lead this conversation. There are and there will be opposing views, but if you do, if any of this has sort of resonated with you, and you're looking for opportunities to sort of turn some of this preaching into practice, then reach out and make contact, because I would really love to hear what you think about this, and to maybe hear how you've done with some of your work, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and whether what I've been saying today is perhaps consistent or at odds with what you've experienced, because I really do think we need to spend more time talking about Tableau for business. So thank you very, very much for staying with me, and I really do look forward to hearing from you soon. And yeah, thanks a lot, and make sure you download my guide for designing dashboards with impact. And yeah, thanks so much for being part of this masterclass, and I will see you again soon. Bye.